Hey guys, Tom here, Permaculture Wilmington. It's a rainy day and I'm putting a few plants in the ground, and I just found something that's really interesting. I'm taking Matt Power's course in permaculture, and I'm learning a lot about soil. And I just learned that whenever there's fungi in the soil, there's some plants that keep fungi from growing because they want it to be dominated by the bacteria instead of the fungi. They benefit more from bacteria than fungi, so they actually hold that growth back and keep it from forming in the soil. But what I just saw was really interesting, because I've got brassicas that are on the list of plants that you're not supposed to grow in fungal dominated soil. So, because of that relationship, they don't want to have anything to do with fungi. They're part of the 10% of plants on Earth that don't require fungi to exist. So I thought it was really interesting that there's this huge mass of mycelium underneath the trays that I've got of the brassicas. There's a few cauliflower that are growing, and there's also some, broccoli, and there's rape seeds, but I think that's a mustard. It said brassica online though, so I'm going to check on that one. I'm not sure. But purple rape, because the purples have the anthocyanin, so I'm trying to grow a lot of purple stuff. So that was on the list. I'm just learning about that one. But the point is that these plants are on the list of plants that are not supposed to be growing well with fungi, and they're doing pretty well. So I'm really interested. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So as we move closer, you can see it's underneath the trays. So that's underneath the trays forming, and if I lift the tray up, look at all that mycelial growth. So that's all mycelium. Now I'm not sure what kind of mycelium it is, and if it's even a fruiting body. The coloration that's on here kind of looks like a fungus called dog vomit. That's actually not a fungus at all. It's a complex organism. And if that is in fact dog vomit, then it's a complex organism, then that would explain why the brassicas are still doing as well as they are. But you can see this is cauliflower, and if we lift this up, you see there's not as much growing under here, but there's still a little bit, and it could be that, it's a brassica. And that's why it's holding it back. It doesn't like that relationship. But if I lift up all these trays, you can see that there is a huge amount of mycelium under the ones that are not brassicas. Like that's the rapeseed. So I think that's the mustard, and if that's the case, then that might be why. And this is lettuce, which is also in the mustard family. So if we've got these relationships forming, we can explain these kinds of things. But my question is, if you guys want to follow along with me, what I'm going to be asking my teacher, Matt Powers, in the class that I'm taking is, what is this relationship? Because this is a brassica plant, and if this is a complex organism, then it makes sense, because that's not on the list. That wouldn't apply. But you can see the mycelium here came through the bottom of the tray and started growing on the substrate. So that's mycelium. That's hyphal connections here. Hyphae is how you pronounce that. But those are the strands of mycelium that move through the soil. Hyphal strands. They're rhizomorphic hyphal strands. So what we've got is some cauliflower that I'm just going to plant here in compost. This is what I've been doing today. We're getting ready to move, so instead of putting these in this awesome soil that I've created around the yard, all these wonderful beds full of life, we're moving, so I'm putting in all the pots. But luckily, this big pile of compost just finished, so it just dropped down to temperatures that are okay for plants, and that identifies that the nitrogen has now moved into the carbon and become sequestered by the carbon as much as it's going to, and the microbes have essentially just stopped eating at this point, in terms of the thermophilic bacteria and fungi that cause it to heat up. So that's what's going on here, guys. I hope you're having a good day, and I'm just putting some plants in some pots, and just brainstorming about how all this works and goes together. I'm getting closer, guys. I'm getting closer. So if you're following along, you know, I'm only on week 3 now in the course, and I'm learning a lot of stuff, but it's 20 weeks and there's a lot of content. So stay tuned in the group, North Carolina Permaculture, and you can get there by going to northcarolinapermaculture.com, and it's on Facebook. Okay, guys? Hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you later.